Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of All In Person podcast by Xtag. Today, I'm very, very excited to have Tim Groot from Grip, great partner of Xtag, great person, and such a leader in the event space. Tim, thank you for joining today. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for being here. Thanks for inviting me to the all in person. For a moment, I thought you said all in podcast. So I don't know if it's a play on that, but I like it. It's a good name. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it came from since the COVID kind of time that people talked about virtual versus in person and all that. And I'm like, no, it's all in person because we talk about in person events, although it's virtual, yes, but that's our industry, right? We
Yeah,
work remotely. We don't meet each other. And then, boom, we just on site and getting
exactly.
things done with a lot of magic and a lot of, a lot of investments, right?
It's good.
Thank you, team, again for joining. Before we jump into the questions, everyone I think in the industry knows Grip and you, but in two sentences um, about you, how you started Grip and what's up today, and then we'll dive into more juicy questions.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm Tim, founder and CEO of Grip, and I started the company about 10 years ago. Mainly because I was frustrated with networking at events that I was attending as a participant. And I was like, all right, how can we make this easier? So we started out as a mobile app that made it really easy for people to connect using AI and recommending the right people and so forth. And now we're an entire event experience platform that uses AI to offer both a seamless registration, exhibitor management, event apps, matchmaking, meetings, and on site together with our partner Xtag. So yeah, it's a full suite of event products that is really focused on commercial organizers. That's really our core segment: is how do we help commercial organizers generate more revenue from their events, and make sure, of course, that that comes by meeting the right people and having the right interactions at your event.
Yeah, that's actually your journey is pretty fascinating because you started as an app, connections, AI. You've been very, very, the the first ones I've ever heard using AI in the event space. I think maybe 7, 8 years ago, maybe 10. Before it was crazy like today. And we have some questions around that, but specifically because you started as an app and then now you are a full suite. Today, when you're pitching Grip, what really wins over? What is like the number one thing that people like, okay, it clicks and we want to go with Grip?
I still think it is our quality and our engaged product. So what we do with our structured meeting products called Must Meet, and in general around meetings and interaction, I think that's still leading, to be completely honest, and that is why people come to us. And I think that as we've expanded, we've just expanded what we consider hygiene factors. But what I want to get to is manage and on-site to be able to be sold on their own. So we are starting to see some customers that just use our registration products. I think of us more as a HubSpot where you've got your sales hub and your marketing hub and your service hub, and you could be using any of those. They're great to use together and they're great to use on their own. So that's where I want to get to.
That's interesting because a lot of platforms kind of force you or try to really encourage you, let's say, to use all their products together. But you are kind of more a la carte. Like you can use this or that. You can definitely leverage them together. That's very interesting strategy. Moving forward, just because we don't have a lot of time, we can talk forever. But moving forward, and AI, this is something we just talked before that you started AI to talk about AI and implement AI in Grip years ago before it became crazy. So I'm really curious, besides of what you do with networking, or maybe still there, where AI is adding value today to Grip. Anything you can share that might surprise people that they're not really aware of? What's up with AI today in Grip after so many years?
Yeah, we still do a lot with deep neural networks to recommend people, and there's a lot of different ways that we use that. And then we're using large language models for our AI assistant that we both have for organizers as well as for participants. So we've got two of those, and we use it internally quite a lot. We build actually quite a lot of like sales insights products for our own teams. So, for example, all the sales transcripts with all the conversations our sales teams have. automatically gets kind of sent into our product team to give like really fast product feedback on how we can improve our product and customer sentiment and so forth. So we actually do quite a bit of work on that. Um, and there's so many use cases for LLMs and the kind of image generation side as well, right? So asset generation for customers, right? Like branded materials to be used on site. So we're starting to use AI for stuff like that. And then it's of course writing code. I think that a big percentage of our kind of quality assurance and also just the code that we write and feature development is heavily influenced by AI now in some way, shape, or form.
Very interesting. Yeah, seeing you starting that so many years ago, you had like the fundamentals to really grow with crazy with the revolution of AI. So that's great. And I'm sure we'll hear more things coming up from Grip about around AI in the near future. Good. And now moving forward to what you said before, that you became from an app that were very niched on networking, AI networking, and very, very leading in that niche in the event space to basically provide a full suite of products. You did that also through M&A. You acquired some companies, and I think you are really rare in the industry, besides maybe Cvent, that they're kind of active there. But you are really one of a kind there, that you are an acquirer. You are buying companies. You are not trying to sell, at least now, unless you say otherwise. So I wonder what's next. Are you going to keep doing that, being active there? You are slowing down. You're selling. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so I mean, we've really done two acquisitions. One was in the both have been more on the technology side. So one was on our kind of meeting technology, where we made an acquisition in 2021. And technically, actually, the grip as we know it today comes actually from a merger of Intros and Grip. So I originally started Grip in Copenhagen, and Intros was based in London, and we merged those companies in January 2016. So the company actually started as a merger, technically. I think for the future, like I continue to see potential in acquisitions if you can find the right fit. The right fit can be, we're no C-vent, we don't have that deep pockets, but we can be creative in how we find interesting overlap when it comes to customer overlap, right? That can be a key reason, or product modules that we don't have yet that we would love to bring in house. And there's many companies that I've looked at or spoken to and wanted to acquire, and how sometimes it works out. More don't work out and do work out, as is the case, I think, for most companies. But we'll continue looking, and if there are companies that are interested, I always, love speaking with them and love learning about their business. And I'm always so impressed by the businesses people have built, and it gets me thinking as well in new ways very often. So yeah, I always appreciate those conversations and learning with people.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Usually, those conversations not necessarily start as acquisition conversations. You learn about the people, the person, the company they've built, and then it becomes interesting. Just meeting people in the industry, it's something that, like you, I really like. You just meet them, you talk to them, they can just throw a sentence, and you're like, you know what? There is something in what they're saying, and like, it gets you to think. And in this world, I think thinking is so important. So many different tools, so many opportunities out there, that you just need to kind of listen to as many people as you can, and digest, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's always like, I think I learn by, working on things, but also by like talking to people and asking questions. And when you're in the moment of doing research, it's often the most productive conversations that you can have. So yeah, it's a great progress a process.
Cool, cool. All right, moving forward to another very nice thing that you added pretty recently to what Grip offers, which is the smart badges. So before I ask you what's next, if you can, again, in two sentences, briefly explain what is smart badges for Grip, how people can leverage that, and then we can talk a little bit about the future of it.
Yeah, like I've had a long history with smart badges actually. Like so, even when we started, my co-founder Brent Hoberman, who started various businesses like Made.com and Last Minute and so forth, he was like, "Oh, smart badges," and I never really got the appeal of it. And for some events, we used Blendology, which are these really big kind of e-ink badges, and other things that we tried. Poken, there were so many kind of things that we like looked at, and I never really saw something that I really enjoyed and really thought that could scale. And then last year, I went to an event called Blueprint and saw the smart badge technology that we've now incorporated into our platform as part of the acquisition that we did. And really, what it is, it's got two primary functions. The first function is quite unique, is that it helps with people to connect with each other. So rather than having to take out your phone to scan a badge, for example, is you can both stand within 6 feet or 2 meters of each other. And when you both click it at the same time, you'll exchange contact details. And so what it does actually, the smart badge is connected to your phone, and the next time that you open the app, it will just sync those connections through the app actually. And so as long as there is someone, like it could be one of the two people connecting with each other, or anyone else has our app installed, it can actually piggyback of that and just send them to the server. And so it scales really nicely for that use case, and it works really well. We see a 10x increase in terms of the number of connections captured. And then the second use case is heat mapping. So, and location tracking basically. So knowing where somebody's been, how many people are in a certain room, where they're hanging out. So there's all sorts of kind of tracking capabilities that work with most smart badges and most BLE tools. But it's really the first use case that I think make what we do a bit different than others that you see out there.
Nice. Yeah, we tried that in an event together and it was huge success. So it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
I wonder though, what is the future of it? Like, do you see, first of all, about the adoption? It's not cheap, right? So it's kind of going to premium events, I would say, that they have the budget. Yeah, it adds a lot of value, but it's not, it is
Yeah.
expensive. Do you see that getting cheaper? Do you see that still being, kind of top-notch solution for premium events? Do you see any change of the way the technology works for that? What is your take here?
Yeah, I mean, we need to do better at the refurbishment of them. And so that will bring down the price. And so if we can be more diligent in collecting them at the end of the event, we can have a better refurbishment process. And as a result, we just charge a rental fee as opposed to kind of necessarily the hardware fee minus like whatever we refurbish. So that's kind of, I'd say, the first step that will bring down the price. I also think the hardware will become cheaper. So that's another factor. And I think there are more use cases. So, something being expensive is really a perception compared to the value that you get out of it, right? So I think we can get a lot more value out of it that will make the perception of the price much cheaper. While the price might stay the same. So, whenever you lose a deal on price, you haven't lost a deal on price. You've lost a deal on value, right? So, somebody else has provided similar or same value for a lower price. So, I think that's the key way that I think about where we're at with smart badges is that currently there's a very narrow segment of events where the value is there to purchase it. By adjusting the price, but more increasing the value, we'll see that more and more events will start using it.
Very interesting. I'm eager to have another conversation next year and to see together if it really grew, if there are more events adopting that, because we are living in the same industry, talking to people. Some people say it's a gimmick, some people say it's amazing. And it will be interesting in the coming years to see if it is getting adopted more or it stays narrow, to those premium events. I'm all in. Like I'd love to see more of it, but it will be very interesting to see the buyers what they think about it.
Yeah, what is buyer saying to you? You talk to a lot of people that are
Yeah,
looking for patch
so
solutions.
that's basically where what we hear. We hear that it's nice, but not necessarily worth how much it costs because it is an investment. But there are other people, anyone with their own opinion. Other people that are like, listen, it's worth any penny, right? So I think it's a lot about kind of educating the market and showing them the value, exactly as you said, together, hopefully, with being able to make it cheaper. If you
Mhm.
achieve both, then you can be very successful with it. If it will be still very expensive with more value, yeah, more people will adopt. Okay,
Yeah.
it will stay like now that people don't know necessarily the value. They think there is not much value. Then they won't adopt it that much. So I think we're in a transition kind of position or point in time that it's kind of new solution. It's not very new. Like people, you see it in events, but it's not very broad that every event you go for. It's not like lead retrieval or event app that every event will have it, right? It's more rare to see that. So not necessarily every planner, every event organizer even tried it at all. Probably they haven't. So it's like the first time you need to convince them to adopt it, and you tell them, listen, you need to invest a lot of money to try, right? It's not like try for free. You can't because it costs you a lot of money, right? So you kind of need to convince them at the door that you need this, and that's not easy.
Yeah, the question is also like, is there other technologies that are cheaper? So like our badges, they'll be $15 to $20, whereas you could use NFC and so forth at a much lower price. Um, so there are kind of things there that potentially, if you could do the same with cheaper technologies, I think that's interesting. But there are definitely things that you can do with our badges that you can't do with anything else, right?
Correct.
And that of course kind of makes it kind of an interesting calculation. I think that the most value sits in our case in the kind of click to connect element, because knowing exactly who somebody has spoken to, and but having a proactive opt-in of that, not just a passive tracking element of that, is very, very powerful, because it can help you capture a number of conversations and know the data points around that otherwise you just wouldn't have, right? Like if we, for some events now, have 20 to 25 connections per participant on average, right? So some people have even more, some people a bit less. But that is a really powerful stat. And that can really help organizers understand the overall flow and success of their event, what people are missing, how to optimize the networking mix to a much greater degree as they would have been otherwise.
I agree, and I'd love to see more of that. I'm not paying the money for it, so I don't mind. I just want to see more. But let's see, let's see. It will be very interesting. In any case, I can say here that we had an event with the Grip Smart Badges. It worked great, and we would love to see more of it. Cool.
Nice.
We are moving forward to the fun part, which is the 60-second challenge. Are you ready for the challenge?
Let's go.
Okay, so we have the timer here. I have my questions here, and here we go. So first question is VC-backed companies or a bootstrap? What do you think is better for an event tech company?
Bootstrapped.
I couldn't agree more. You know me. All right. One feature in Grip that's underrated and more planners should use.
Insights.
Interesting. Bigger competitor in your eyes, Brella, Swapcard, or someone else?
Cvent.
Good answer. All right. M&A. Do you prefer to be the buyer or the seller?
A buyer.
Cool. Buy more. Come on. Managing, managing an event company. Is it easier if you were in the US or you think it's better that you are in the UK?
I've never done it from the US. So I'm going to go with UK simply because I've never done it from the US.
All right. That was quick. I had so many questions for you, but the rule is the rule. Rules are rules,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. We
So
covered quite a lot of that.
We are done with our challenge, and actually, it's been a great conversation with you, Tim. As I said, we can speak forever. We have so many things to share and to discuss, and we do that backstage. So, thank you so much for joining. I wish you and Grip all the best. We love working with you. You are building an amazing product, coming from an app to a full suite. It's a big deal, and I know that because I don't want to do that. Like I know how hard it is to be in a niche and then be a full suite. Like it's kind of dream that I will never achieve probably. So I really, really appreciate what you're doing with Grip. especially doing it kind of by yourself, leading the company that way. And yeah, all the best, my friend. And I can't wait to work closer together next year. Happy holidays to you, the family, and everyone that is watching or listening to us. And before we wrap up, Tim, do you have anything to say?
Well, thank you so much for the kind words, and I definitely don't run Grip alone. So there's definitely a
I
lot
mean,
of
you
people
lead
I
it.
can.
You lead it as the CEO.
Yeah.
I think you. By the way, you have like a co-founder with you, or you are the only founder.
I'm the only founder that is working on Grip full time. So yeah, yeah.
So you kind of
So
lead it alone. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you're the only one with the crazy headache that really don't sleep at
No,
night. I hope you sleep, but
no, actually, like I think that we've got like honestly we've got a great team, and I think that we've got many people that feel an extreme level of responsibility for what they do at Grip. That means that I can sleep at night safely and soundly. So I
good.
think that like often it's about how do you incentivize and motivate people and give them that ownership and true ownership, because that's scary, right? Because that means that if they have the ownership, you don't have it. But yeah, I think that we've become pretty good at that. So yeah, but thank you
Yeah,
for the kind words. I really
that,
appreciate it.
that's a step that a company like yours has to go through, basically, from a small company, niched, event app only, to be a full suite without a good leadership team and that cares as much as you, as much as it is possible. That's the key. Otherwise, you cannot scale. So you're doing great job there. I know your team, the team of
Thank you.
team. I know them, and they are really great, and you lead them to success. So thank you again for joining, for the time, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Appreciate it. Thanks.